Hey guys, my name is Matimio, and today I finally had a chance to play Star Wars Battlefront, and I am loving the game right now. I went into the beta hesitant, and while there still are some things that I don't like about the title, and we'll get to that here in a second, overall, at its core, this is an amazing first-person shooter that has an insane amount of potential. One concern I've heard a lot over this last couple of months, and something that I shared too, is that there wasn't going to be a lot of skill involved in this game. A lot of people thought that the skill ceiling was going to be really low, and so the difference between a pro player or someone who just jumped in, there wasn't going to be a lot of difference there. And while this is still arcadey, much more arcadey than something like Battlefield, I know a lot of you guys come from that background, that does not mean that you are not going to be able to dominate if you are the best player on servers. Not only is there a severe headshot multiplier, like if you're nailing headshots on someone and you're using the appropriate weapon, you are going to down them ridiculously quickly. But one thing that I think contributes to this skill ceiling are the different gadgets that you have available to you. If you know how to use your grenade and you know how to use all the different abilities that are available to you, you are going to have a leg up on the competition. I have had moments where I was clearly at a disadvantage. A bunch of enemies were swarming around me. I was able to pick out a couple by using the terrain to my advantage, and then I threw this really impressive grenade off of a rock. It landed where I assumed the enemy was going to round the corner to try to take me out, and I got that nice kill notification. These moments happen continuously, and if you're good enough and you know how to use these weapons, you are going to have no problem dominating the competition. I think it's the gameplay that I'm actually enjoying most, and that is probably the best quality of any first-person shooter. The reason why I was hesitant going into this beta is that I was scared that the gunplay wasn't going to be all that exciting. And while it's not as skillful as something like Counter-Strike, you're not going to have to memorize the recoil pattern down to a science, there is still strengths and weaknesses to these weapons, and you're going to have to master these weapons if you want to succeed on the battlefield. Some guns, their recoil pattern, I wouldn't necessarily call it a recoil pattern, it's more of a bullet spread here. You're not going to have to really reel in the recoil, but there's definitely some bullet spread that you're going to have to understand. As soon as you start to realize how this weapon performs and you start to tap fire or hold down the button appropriately, you're going to nail those headshots. You're going to exceed, and I think just in general, as long as the couple of guns that we have right now isn't the extent of the weapon play here, I'm hoping that there's going to be a wide variety of weapons and gadgets when the game finally releases. I will imagine that there is going to be a fair amount of depth combat-wise, and that could not make me more excited. One critique I do have to make, though, is that I feel like some of the gadgets and accessories recharge too quickly. You may have noticed that every time I throw a grenade, it's back and up and running 10 seconds later. The bubble shield, which is amazing, and I think it might be too good right now, at least in its current state. Every time I activate that, it gives you like a good 5-7 seconds to get behind cover. Basically, if you were low on health, you're back to full, and it's got like a 20-second cooldown. And while I love the depth that these things bring to the game, I truly do believe if someone uses these effectively, it's going to set them apart from the competition. But at least right now, especially the bubble shield, it just seems too good for how frequently you can activate these things. Also the grenade. And while it is too early to tell, who knows, maybe when the game goes live and we get the full extent of the gadgets that are going to be available, some of them are going to offset the power here. Like, you're going to have to make the decision between the bubble shield or this awesome other ability that we don't even know about. That could be a distinct possibility. So maybe no one will actually use it when the game goes live, but at least right now in its current state, some of these gadgets could use some adjustment, and really it may just come down to how quickly you can activate them. Another critique I have to make, though, comes down to the netcode. DICE Stockholm has always struggled with netcode when it comes to first-person shooters. If you guys remember the launch of Battlefield 4, it was a hot mess. And honestly, a hot mess doesn't even describe how abysmal it was at the release of that game. People were dying around corners, you were dying like a second later, kill trades were everywhere, it was ridiculous. And while I'm not trying to say that it's awful right now in Star Wars Battlefront, I have noticed a couple of kill trades every once in a while. And this might just be contributed to the fact that weapons are not hit scan. I know that we are firing laser beams. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but there is travel time here. You are going to have to lead your target for long distance shots, and so that travel time could be associated with these kill trades, but some of them do feel a little janky and could be contributed to lag. And so I'm crossing my fingers that DICE has learned their lesson from the Battlefield franchise. It would be great if we got 30 Hz servers at release. That would be a great step in the right direction, but I'm just hoping that they can take the feedback from the beta, tighten it up a bit, and so that when the game game goes live, it is a flawless experience. One thing that I'm loving about the beta though, and this might just be because of the people that are playing it right now, is that people are playing the objective like it's their job. The result of this is some of the most enjoyable multiplayer rounds that I've had in quite some time. My favorite game mode right now, and I know that there's only like 2 or 3, is Drop Zone. Walker Assault is all fine and good, and I do enjoy it, but I love that infantry close quarter combat that Drop Zone provides. I can't tell if it's because good game design. I'm gonna go on a limb and say that it is good game design. Because it's basically King of the Hill, it focuses the action around different parts of the map when the drop zone comes on in. But I also think it's because of not only the incentive to hopefully win the round, but if you are successful in defending one of these drop pods, that you get some nice goodies. You get like an orbital strike. You can pick up, you know, a shield for your team. These can help you win the round, but they're also just fun to use. That's another thing. Like, a lot of the gadgets are just fun to use, and I think that also contributes to it. And so I don't know if it's just the demographic that's currently playing the beta right now. Maybe the people that had the early access are more prone to play the objective, but I'm really hoping that it's because of just solid good map design and game design. If that's the case and they're able to transfer that on over to all of the other maps and all of the other game modes, then we're gonna have an objective-based game on our hands. And I know for all the people out there that were thinking that it was just gonna be arcadey, there wasn't gonna be any teamwork or any skill, hopefully they're gonna be wrong with this if Drop Zone and even Walker Assault are any indication. The final critique that I'm gonna make for today, though, is that I am not a fan of that UI whatsoever. I was kind of hoping that a few months ago, when we first saw our very first glimpse of the multiplayer gameplay, that they were going to be making some improvements to the UI. Now that we're a little bit over a month from the game releasing though, it looks like we're stuck with it, and I'm just not too keen on it. I don't like how large the icons are. The chat window is in a really odd place. Your health is really large as well. And while yes, it does display how much health you have, which is nice. I mean, clearly you're gonna know how much health you have left, and hopefully you're gonna be able to take advantage of that information. But just in general, I'm not much of a fan of the UI. And so one improvement I would love to see, which probably won't happen because the game is about to be released, but one thing that I think could vastly improve this system is to give the player the options to customize this UI. If you were able to shrink the icons of your star cards or your gadgets in the right-hand corner and maybe place them on a certain part of your screen, that would be amazing. Being able to move the chat to a different section, being able to change your radar, maybe increase or decrease the size of your health on the screen, that could be another improvement. Just giving your players the options and the ability to slightly change the way that their UI is displayed on their screen would be a huge step in the right direction. And while once again, it probably won't happen because we are a little over a month away, and I have a feeling that would take a lot of development time to make that work. That would be an amazing improvement over what we have right now. But just in general, if you can't tell, I am loving this game. The hype is real. I'm hoping that when the game does go live, there's even more to enjoy. Like, I'm hoping that this just isn't the best of the best and it only goes downhill from here. But the graphics are incredible. The combat, at least so far, is a hell of a lot of fun. I'm loving the game right now. And hopefully, you guys in the next couple of days, when you do get access to the open beta, you will have a similar experience. But yeah, guys, that is about it for my first impressions of Star Wars Battlefront. I hope you enjoyed. Of course, there's gonna be a lot more Star Wars Battlefront gameplay on my channel in the very, very near future, so stay tuned for that. But until tomorrow, have a good one, and take it easy.